Jason, an American in his 30s, had always been drawn to the allure of distant lands and new beginnings. He lived a comfortable but rigid life in Chicago, where the fast-paced lifestyle and relentless work ethic left him feeling trapped. Each day blurred into the next, a repetition of meetings, deadlines, and the same familiar faces. The spark of adventure that once ignited his youthful spirit had dimmed, replaced by the weight of expectations and routine. It wasn't until he met Maria, a vibrant Filipina, during a business trip in Southeast Asia, that he truly began to contemplate a drastic change. There was something about her warmth, her laughter, and the stories she shared about her home that planted a seed in Jason's mind. Could he really leave everything behind and start anew in the Philippines, a place he had only glimpsed through Maria's eyes? The decision wasn't made lightly. Jason spent many sleepless nights wrestling with his thoughts. What drove him most was a deep dissatisfaction with his current life coupled with a yearning for authentic connections. He imagined waking up to the sound of waves crashing against the shore and basking in the sun with the locals, surrounded by a culture rich in traditions and vibrant colors. But such idealism overlooked the challenges that lay ahead. Would he really fit into another way of life? Would his dreams of romance and adventure translate into reality or turn into regret? With newfound determination, he began to plan his move. He researched about the Philippines obsessively, diving into its history, local customs, and social dynamics. He even took online classes to learn the basics of Tagalog, although he wondered if mere words could ever replace the nuances of everyday conversation. The initial excitement surged through him as he pictured his life on tropical beaches, sharing long evenings laughing with Maria under the stars. He made arrangements to transfer his work online, relishing the thought of becoming a digital nomad. How liberating it felt. What could possibly go wrong? Yet, the journey from planning to reality was steeped in complexity. As he landed in Manila, the vibrancy of the city hit him like a tidal wave. The cacophony of honking jeepneys and shouting vendors vibrated throughout his senses, more intense than he had anticipated. The reality quickly became daunting. Language barriers stood tall, preventing him from forming the connections he so desperately sought. Instead of the warm welcomes he expected, he often found himself standing awkwardly at social gatherings, struggling to understand rapid conversations around him. Concern bubbled in the back of his mind. Had he underestimated the stark contrast between cultures? While the Filipino folks were indeed kind, Jason frequently felt like an outsider. He adapted his lifestyle to blend in, but no amount of preparation could shield him from the loneliness that crept in during quiet moments. Despite the breathtaking sunsets and beautiful beaches just moments away, an undercurrent of isolation lingered. Would he ever truly belong? Financially, he began feeling the strain. The idea of living frugally was easy to romanticize from a distance, but once faced with rent, bills, and new expenses, everything changed. The thrill of being in a foreign land was dulled by a creeping anxiety. Thoughts rushed through his mind. Had he made a mistake? Was his wish for a new life just a fantasy? As he navigated the bustling streets, contrasting the extravagant shopping malls with the humility of local markets, he couldn't help but wonder if he'd miscalculated everything: his finances, expectations, and even his reasons for seeking a new start. But in these moments of doubt, his connection with Maria shone like a beacon. She encouraged him, reminding him of the beauty of crossing cultural boundaries and the richness of a life fully lived, even when it felt overwhelming. There was something grounding about her presence. It urged him to reflect on his journey. Were the difficulties he faced simply stepping stones towards something greater? Jason often found himself contemplating his choices. What if the lessons hidden within these challenges were precisely what he needed to transform himself, shaping him into a person capable of thriving in this new existence? The combination of struggle and hope stirred something deep within Jason. Was he truly ready to embrace the uncertainty of life, allowing it to cultivate resilience? With every sunrise over Manila's skyline, Jason realized that each challenge he faced might serve as a catalyst for his personal growth. He yearned for acceptance, not just in the Philippines but within himself. He was standing at the precipice of a life-altering adventure, one where every moment was filled with questions yearning for answers and reflections ready to shape his experience. Just how far was he willing to go for the life of his dreams? As he pondered these questions, one thought persisted. Perhaps the heart of this journey was not just about the place he would call home, but about the transformation that awaited him. Would he be brave enough to delve into the unknown, to let the waves of change wash over him? Would he learn to dance in the rain, embracing the beauty of uncertainty. It was in this blend of fear and excitement, doubt and hope, that Jason began to realize the true essence of his journey had just begun. Jason's first few weeks in Manila were nothing short of overwhelming. The initial thrill of adventure quickly faded as he faced the stark reality of living in a new country. The city, vibrant and alive, was also chaotic and challenging. He found himself grappling with the frustrations of everyday life, and beneath the surface, the loneliness seeped in like an unwelcome guest. While he had romanticized the idea of moving to the Philippines, experiencing the culture firsthand was an entirely different beast. Language became his greatest barrier. Although Jason had diligently studied Tagalog phrases, the fast-paced conversations around him were a whirlwind of unfamiliar sounds. He would nod and smile, pretending to understand while internally wrestling with confusion. During his first visit to a local market, he attempted to haggle for fresh mangoes, but ended up feeling embarrassed as the vendor spoke rapidly in Tagalog, leaving him lost in translation. The laughter and camaraderie he imagined were overshadowed by a sense of inadequacy. How could he make friends if he struggled just to order a meal? Financial challenges also weighed heavily on his mind. Jason's budget, carefully planned out before his arrival, began to crumble as he encountered unexpected expenses. Navigating the cost of living in Manila posed a much steeper climb than he'd anticipated. Rent was higher than advertised, utilities crept up, and the cost of getting around was a daily reminder of his dwindling funds. The allure of street food quickly wore off as he realized it added up each day. He often found himself standing in front of a refrigerator filled with groceries he had purchased but had yet to cook, numbed by the weight of financial stress. The dream of a simplified life was becoming a reality fraught with anxiety. In the evenings, as he wandered through Manila's bustling streets, a sense of isolation settled in. Despite the crowds, Jason felt entirely alone. The vibrant nightlife, populated by friendly faces and laughter, felt like a world apart from his own. He missed the familiarity of his friends and family back home, the laughter that erupted from shared stories, and the warmth of companionship. While he frequently video called his friends back in Chicago, their lives moved on without him, reminding him of what he had left behind. Did his quest for adventure come at an unbearable cost? Here, surrounded by thousands, he felt like a ghost lost in a bustling sea. It wasn't long before the weight of uncertainty felt oppressive. There were moments he would sit on his small balcony, gazing at the vibrant city below and questioning everything. Was he really built for this? He found himself asking difficult questions. What if he had been too hasty in leaving his old life? Did he have the fortitude to endure the challenges of this new beginning? Those nights often ended with him drifting into a restless sleep, wrestling with the realities of self-doubt. Yet, amidst the chaos, Jason began to encounter small moments of kindness that slowly chipped away at his solitude. One evening, as he sat in a local cafe nursing a cup of coffee, he struck up a conversation with a barista named Lila. She was patient and friendly. Her English was excellent and her smile welcoming. They began to chat about everything from favorite foods to cultural differences, and for the first time since arriving, Jason felt a sense of connection. Recently, he had been invited to speak at an event for expatriates, sharing his experiences about navigating life in the Philippines through his blog. The thought excited him, yet apprehension lingered at the edges of his mind. Could he really inspire others with his story? The night of the event arrived, and Jason stood in front of a modest crowd of eager faces, faces that mirrored some of the fears and hopes he had felt when first arriving. Miguel sat in the front row, offering an encouraging nod. With a deep breath, Jason began to share his journey, the battles he fought, the triumphs that followed, and the unwavering support he found in his new community. As he spoke, he poured raw honesty into his words, recounting moments of doubt amidst the joy of newfound friendships. He could see the connection forming, the understanding reflected back in their eyes. It was a powerful reminder that vulnerability could forge bonds that transcended borders. By the end of his talk, a wave of applause washed over him, and for the first time, Jason felt a surge of confidence. The post-talk mingling allowed him to interact with others eager to share their stories. He met people from various countries, each navigating their own unique challenges. A young German woman spoke about her struggles with homesickness. A couple from Australia shared their hilarious misadventures with local transportation. These connections sparked the realization that everyone's journey was both unique and shared each story, shaped by unexpected trials and serendipitous moments. Inspired by the stories exchanged that evening, Jason took it upon himself to build a more substantial platform. He proposed the idea of a community group where expats could come together, share their experiences, and learn from each other. Miguel's eyes lit up at the suggestion. and they began discussing the logistics, establishing a regular meeting, creating an online forum, and even inviting local Filipinos to join. The vision excited Jason, and for the first time since his arrival, he felt like he was contributing to something larger than himself. The next few weeks were consumed with planning and organizing. Jason learned the ins and outs of event management, the thrill of finding the perfect venue, reaching out to potential speakers, and crafting an agenda that would inspire and engage. He poured his heart into every aspect, leveraging the connections he had made to gather a diverse group of people who could share their insights. The anticipation of the first meeting buzzed through him. He envisioned a space where people could openly communicate, share resources, and build friendships that would last beyond the walls of the meetings. On the day of the inaugural gathering, Jason felt a flutter of nerves mixed with excitement. As he entered the venue, he saw familiar faces mingling, exchanging laughter and stories. The energy in the room was electric. With each passing moment, familiarity quieted his nerves. Jason welcomed attendees, introducing himself, and then launched into a brief speech that he hoped would set the tone for the evening. He spoke of the importance of community, of supporting one another in unfamiliar territories. "We all share this journey," he said, "and together we can turn the challenges into shared victories." What unfolded that night was nothing short of magical. Conversations flowed effortlessly, and laughter echoed through the rooms. Expats exchanged contact information, forming alliances that would lead to newfound friendships. The group became a vibrant tapestry of voices, sharing experiences about everything from cultural misunderstandings to hidden gems within Manila. Jason felt a sense of fulfillment blossom within him. This was what he had come to the Philippines for: a life of connection, learning, and mutual support. Transforming his challenges into a support system for others marked a profound turning point in Jason's journey. The gatherings continued weekly, each event bringing new faces and fresh stories. They invited guest speakers, a cultural historian sharing insights into Filipino customs, a local entrepreneur offering tips on starting a business in the Philippines, and a wellness coach discussing strategies for navigating homesickness. The diverse array of topics made each gathering enriching and dynamic. Participants began to open up more, revealing vulnerabilities and finding strength in the support of one another. Jason poured his heart and soul into it, sharing every hurdle he had faced, from language barriers to financial issues and the cultural shocks that rattled him. With each post, he felt a renewed sense of purpose and autonomy. Writing became therapeutic, a way for him to process his experiences and connect with others potentially facing similar challenges. He used his technical skills to spruce up his site, incorporating helpful resources for other expats, tips on navigating Manila, and even guides for finding good food and local events. The blog not only allowed him to express himself, but gradually began to draw a modest audience. The comment section became a lively community of people eager to share their own experiences, encouraging one another and offering advice. As his confidence grew, Jason began to view challenges as opportunities. His limited budget forced him to explore Manila critically, discovering hidden gems off the beaten path, a local market filled with tropical fruits, beaches less crowded with tourists, and eateries run by families steeped in traditional cooking. Each new adventure deepened his appreciation for the culture and the people around him. He learned to find joy in the simplicity of lifelong walks through the bustling streets, engaging conversations with the elderly vendors, and spontaneous trips with his new friends. The most transformative lesson came with the realization that vulnerability cultivated connection. With Miguel and others, Jason opened up about the loneliness he had felt upon arriving in the Philippines. In return, he received warmth and support that nourished his soul. He learned that everyone carried their own backpacks of struggles, filled with stories that connected them in unexpected and beautiful ways. What started as a dream of escapism turned into a journey of deepening human connection and understanding. Yet, amid this progress, he wasn't immune to feelings of inadequacy. Occasionally, memories of his past life would creep in: images of friends laughing at parties, family gatherings, and the comfort of familiarity. On tough days, the contrast between his old life and his current reality would create a pang of nostalgia that left him longing for the life he had left behind. Would he ever fully integrate into this new world? Would he always feel like a foreigner? But in those moments of doubt, he clung to the relationships he was building. Jason quickly learned that life is less about external circumstances and more about internal responses to those challenges. The realization ignited a bold shift in his perspective. Instead of merely trying to fit in, he embraced his identity as an American in the Philippines, proud of his roots and eager to share them alongside the Filipinos who embraced him. He found beauty in the fusion of cultures, and with both influences intermingling, he slowly began to carve out a unique space for himself in this vibrant tapestry. What may have initially seemed daunting became a vivid adventure of growth and resilience. Jason no longer felt the pinch of loneliness with his new friendships surrounding him. Instead, he felt buoyed by a powerful belief that he could bridge the gap between his past and present. This was a journey of rediscovery, and every step he took brought him closer to authentically embracing his life in the Philippines. He realized that this chapter, filled with challenges and triumphs, was not just about finding a place to belong, but about fostering a sense of home within himself. As he continued to cultivate friendships, explore the beauty of the islands, and share his journey through words, Jason finally grasped the lesson of resilience. He would flow with the tides, adapting and growing within this new life, armed with the knowledge that even in the face of uncertainty, connections, the heartbeat of existence, would guide him through the darkest waters. Would he continue to embrace every twist and turn of his journey? Only time would tell, but for the first time since his arrival, Jason felt liberated, ready to dive headfirst into whatever lay ahead. As time flowed forward, Jason found himself increasingly intertwined with the fabric of Manila. Each passing day brought new experiences, and his once overwhelming loneliness began to dissipate into something more profound, a sense of belonging and purpose. Recently, he had been invited to speak at an event for expatriates, sharing his experiences about navigating life in the Philippines through his blog. The thought excited him, yet apprehension lingered at the edges of his mind. Could he really inspire others with his story? The night of the event arrived, and Jason stood in front of a modest crowd of eager faces that mirrored some of the fears and hopes he had felt when first arriving. Miguel sat in the front row, offering an encouraging nod. With a deep breath, Jason began to share his journey, the battles he fought, the triumphs that followed, and the unwavering support he found in his new community. As he spoke, he poured raw honesty into his words, recounting moments of doubt amidst the joy of newfound friendships. He could see the connection forming, the understanding reflected back in their eyes. It was a powerful reminder that vulnerability could forge bonds that transcended borders. By the end of his talk, a wave of applause washed over him, and for the first time, Jason felt a surge of confidence. The post-talk mingling allowed him to interact with others eager to share their stories. He met people from various countries, each navigating their own unique challenges. A young German woman spoke about her struggles with homesickness. A couple from Australia shared their hilarious misadventures with local transportation. These connections sparked the realization that everyone's journey was both unique and shared each story, shaped by unexpected trials and serendipitous moments. Inspired by the stories exchanged that evening, Jason took it upon himself to build a more substantial platform. He proposed the idea of a community group where expats could come together, share their experiences, and learn from each other. Miguel's eyes lit up at the suggestion, and they began discussing the logistics, establishing a regular meeting, creating an online forum, and even inviting local Filipinos to join. The vision excited Jason, and for the first time since his arrival, he felt like he was contributing to something larger than himself. The next few weeks were consumed with planning and organizing. Jason learned the ins and outs of event management, the thrill of finding the perfect venue, reaching out to potential speakers, and crafting an agenda that would inspire and engage. He poured his heart into every aspect, leveraging the connections he had made to gather a diverse group of people who could share their insights. The anticipation of the first meeting buzzed through him. He envisioned a space where people could openly communicate, share resources, and build friendships that would last beyond the walls of the meetings. On the day of the inaugural gathering, Jason felt a flutter of nerves mixed with excitement. As he entered the venue, he saw familiar faces mingling, exchanging laughter and stories. The energy in the room was electric. With each passing moment, familiarity quieted his nerves. Jason welcomed attendees, introducing himself, and then launched into a brief speech that he hoped would set the tone for the evening. He spoke of the importance of community, of supporting one another in unfamiliar territories. We all share this journey, he said, and together we can turn the challenges into shared victories. What unfolded that night was nothing short of magical. Conversations flowed effortlessly, and laughter echoed through the rooms. Expats exchanged contact information, forming alliances that would lead to newfound friendships. The group became a vibrant tapestry of voices, sharing experiences about everything from cultural misunderstandings to hidden gems within Manila. Jason felt a sense of fulfillment blossom within him. This was what he had come to the Philippines for, a life of connection, learning, and mutual support. Transforming his challenges into a support system for others marked a profound turning point in Jason's journey. The gatherings continued weekly, each event bringing new faces and fresh stories. They invited guest speakers, a cultural historian sharing insights into Filipino customs, a local entrepreneur offering tips on starting a business in the Philippines, and a wellness coach discussing strategies for navigating homesickness. The diverse array of topics made each gathering enriching and dynamic. Participants began to open up more, revealing vulnerabilities and finding strength in the support of one another. In the midst of organizing these events, Jason also found himself seeking deeper connections within the Filipino community. Miguel, recognizing this desire, began introducing Jason to local friends. They visited barrio fiestas, explored hidden markets together, and even enrolled in a traditional cooking class. Slowly, Jason began to develop relationships rooted in mutual respect and curiosity. One evening, while sitting in a local family-owned restaurant, he struck up a conversation with a kind local named Alona. She shared stories of her upbringing in the Philippines and the joys of hosting visitors from abroad. Their discussions opened a new window to understanding the culture from a local's perspective. Alona's enthusiasm was infectious, and she eagerly invited Jason to join cultural etiquette workshops that aimed to bridge gaps between expatriates and locals. Jason's world was expanding, and with it, his sense of purpose. He began to integrate more fully into both the expatriate and local communities, nurturing friendships that crossed the boundaries of culture and geography. It struck him profoundly that in seeking to connect with others, he had unearthed the most beautiful aspect of his journey of shared humanity that transcended borders. Yet, with newfound purpose, came deeper reflections on identity. Jason pondered his own narrative and how it intertwined with the stories of those around him. He recognized that every interaction, every conversation, was a thread in the intricate tapestry of his life in the Philippines. The experiences he had once viewed as challenges were now vibrant strokes of color in a painting that was uniquely high-zone, marked by resilience, understanding, and a celebration of diversity. As the months passed, Jason's view of himself shifted. No longer just an outsider navigating a foreign land, he became an integral part of a larger, storious, symbiotic relationship of learning, growing, and adapting. The lessons he had gathered along the way imparted a profound understanding of change and transformation. What had started as a quest for adventure morphed into a deeper calling for connection, empowerment, and contribution. Jason embraced the realization that it was okay to be vulnerable, to ask for help, and to lean on others. His journey was far from finished, but with each gathering and each new friendship, he was not only shaping a life rooted in belonging, but also building a legacy of hope for others walking a similar path. Would he continue to ride the waves of change with the same passion? Only time would tell. But for now, Jason felt anchored in purpose, ready to embrace everything the future held. With each passing week, Jason's life began to solidify into a vibrant mosaic of friendships, professional opportunities, and cultural exploration. The expat community he had helped establish flourished, with newcomers frequently joining in. Each meeting brimmed with energy, laughter, and support as they gathered to share experiences, exchange advice, and celebrate milestones, both big and small. This sense of camaraderie was invigorating. It felt like sprinkling light into the shadows of uncertainty that had once enveloped him. As the group grew, Jason felt an unshakable connection to the narrative he was creating not only for himself, but for the countless others navigating their own paths in the Philippines. Around the same time, he was also receiving inquiries from local businesses interested in collaborations. They wanted assistance with marketing strategies, social media campaigns, and website designs to connect with the growing expat community. These opportunities excited him, offering a chance to blend his professional background with his passion for cultural exchange. The thrill of building mutually beneficial relationships was palpable. He began collaborating with Miguel's Cafe to organize cultural nights, where locals would present Filipino traditions, crafts, and cuisine. In turn, expats could showcase their unique backgrounds through art, music, and storytelling. It became a beautiful exchange, breaking down barriers and fostering understanding. What started as an initiative to help each other adapt to life in a foreign land blossomed into a vibrant celebration of diversity. Meanwhile, Jason's blog continued to gain traction, evolving into a valuable resource for expats seeking guidance in Manila. He documented everything from simple survival tips, such as navigating public transport, to deeper discussions about mental health and the importance of community support. People began sharing his posts within their networks, and he received messages from readers expressing gratitude for the insights he offered. It fueled his passion to continue writing, realizing that not only was he documenting his journey, but he was also creating a lifeline for others feeling lost in the midst of change. While he found joy in these endeavors, the reality of his transformation occasionally surprised him. Moments would arise where he would find himself seated in a vibrant market, engaging in deep conversations with vendors about their craft, sharing laughter over a shared meal, or exchanging tips on cooking traditional Filipino dishes with friends. These simple pleasures grounded him, reminding him of the beauty that existed in everyday life. But even amidst this positivity, Jason faced the inevitable tug of homesickness. Through video calls with loved ones, he would momentarily slip into nostalgia for the familiar. The comfort of home rarely seemed far away. However, as he reminisced about his past, he also recognized how much he had grown. He appreciated the nuances of his life now, the friendships formed, and the experiences that had shaped him. One evening at his kitchen table, he began writing a letter to his family back in Chicago, something he hadn't done in a while. In it, he detailed his journey, from the struggles of settling in to the exhilaration of fostering a community. He expressed gratitude for everything he had learned, the friendships he had developed, and how fully he had embraced this new chapter. The act of writing became a therapeutic release, bridging the gap between his old life and the new one he was creating. As the holiday season approached, it brought with it a wave of reflective emotions. He decided to organize a potluck gathering for Christmas, inviting both expat friends and local families. Jason envisioned this gathering as a fusion of traditions, a celebration that blended the warmth of Filipino festivities with the nostalgia of his family's holiday customs. He encouraged everyone to bring a dish that held special meaning, creating a rich tapestry of culinary delights. The turnout exceeded his expectations. Laughter filled the air as people shared stories behind each dish: lumpiang Shanghai alongside lasagna, lechon mixed with roast chicken. The atmosphere was electric, filled with the joy of shared experiences and mutual respect. As Jason watched people connect over food, he felt a profound sense of gratitude. This was his new family, one that transcended geographical boundaries and cultural differences. As night fell, the room glowed with fairy lights, laughter intertwined with music, and joyful chatter filled the air. Jason stood back for a moment, taking in the scene. Each smiling face represented a journey intertwined with his own collective experience of navigating change and celebrating resilience. In that moment, he understood that while homesickness might flourish from time to time, the connections he had built offered him a newfound sense of belonging. In the weeks that followed, Jason considered his future more deeply. He pondered the possibilities. Could his experiences and the community he had built lead to even greater opportunities? Would he become a bridge between cultures, facilitating understanding and collaboration? Inspired, he began to draft a proposal for a cultural exchange program that could connect local artisans and expats. His vision aimed to highlight Filipino craftsmanship while offering expatriates a chance to learn and engage with the local culture in meaningful ways. With Miguel's support and the encouragement of his newfound friends, Jason felt empowered to take this step forward. The process wasn't easy. There were bureaucratic hurdles to navigate and logistical challenges to consider. Yet, he was determined to turn this vision into reality. After months of hard work, Jason finally organized the inaugural Workshopal Weekend event where expats could learn traditional crafts from local artisans. From weaving to pottery, they immersed themselves in Filipino culture, while artisans had the opportunity to share their skills and stories, fostering admiration and respect for their craft. The event was a resounding success, garnering enthusiastic feedback and igniting a passion for cultural exchange. Through this new path, Jason discovered that his journey was far from a solitary endeavor. It was a vibrant tapestry of collaboration and understanding. It became clear that in embracing change, he sparked change within those around him, weaving relationships that honored the stories of both locals and expats alike. As he reflected on how far he'd come since arriving in Manila, Jason realized that he had not only adapted to his environment, but had actively shaped it. He was no longer merely a visitor in a foreign land. He had become an integral part of a thriving community uniquely reflective of the bonds of humanity. The challenges, once overwhelming, had transformed into stepping stones that led him to a more fulfilling life. With his newfound clarity, Jason embarked on 2025 armed with a sense of purpose and excitement for the future. He continued to cultivate the community he loved, explore the richness of the Filipino culture, and deepen the friendships he cherished. The journey ahead remained uncertain, but for the first time since he arrived, Jason felt ready to embrace whatever came next. In his heart, he knew this was just the beginning. Each day held the promise of discovery, growth, and the chance to celebrate the beautiful tapestry of life that connected them all. Would he step confidently onto this path, guiding others in the same spirit of resilience and community? The answer swelled within him a definitive yes, as he opened the door to a future pulsing with possibility.